This is the first of a series of videos where I am going to share an ancient Chinese text called Proverbs on Ladyhood, or literally, the classics for daughters. It is not a well-known text out of China, but it's an important window to see how ladyhood was understood in ancient Chinese culture. To be sure, this text was produced around 16th century. Technically speaking, it's not very old, but it's a compilation of the teachings concerning ladyhood in the previous generations, and therefore is very telling about how female virtues are viewed throughout ages. There are two major texts for this book. I would name them First Proverbs and Second Proverbs. The text I am sharing here today is the first book. The text reflects how Confucius' moral standard were actually put to practice in people's daily life in ancient time. When Matthew Ricci went to China at the end of the 16th century, he was astonished that Chinese moral standard was shockingly close to that of the medieval Catholicism. So this is one of the moral standard he would have seen and experienced. And this also gives us a window to see how moral standard in the medieval Catholicism would look like. I don't think it would be identical, but in a practical level, there would be many similarities. This first book of Proverbs on ladyhood is made of many sections, and they are pretty long. The first section is the shortest one, and this is what I am going to share today. This section talks about a girl's daily routine before getting married, along with the habits she needs to grow and the relationships she needs to learn to handle. And these elements would be very crucial as they are the foundation of how she would perform her role after she gets married. As we come to the first verse, it's a call to attention. It should be noted that in ancient China, illiteracy of a woman is considered a virtue. So the only way they learn all kinds of teachings are through listening, usually taught by their father, their mother, their husband, their sons, or their nanny, who especially has a job to teach them ladyhood. All the teachings are transmitted orally. That's why the first verse is a call to listen. Although I put the Proverbs on ladyhood at the end of the first sentence, it is in fact the first phrase of the whole book, and therefore can be regarded as the title of the book. You may notice that in the Chinese characters I gave on the right side of the page, all sentences appear in three characters. And that's because they are poetic and are easy to memorize. It's not reflected in my translation, but my purpose here is to introduce the idea, not the form. The second sentence reads, "Wake up early in the morning and leave your virgin chamber." This is the beginning of a young girl's daily routine. They get up very early, about 4 a.m. before dawn. Of course, they sleep very early too, about 7 or 8 p.m. They basically just follow the rhythm of the sun. The young girls get up for a purpose. There are domestic works waiting for them. That's what the phrase "leave your virgin chamber" signifies. When my mom was a girl, she got up at 5 a.m. every morning and got groceries in the market and made breakfast for my grandparents and uncles. So this is a traditional practice attested in ancient texts. But here, what does the text say that the girl should do after getting up so early? It reads, "To make tea and soup, to honor and venerate your parents." So in ancient China, and I would say in many cases in some parts of modern China too, it is very important for the children to greet their parents in the morning. It is a daily ritual or a liturgical practice that is performed every morning. It has two sides or two functions. One side of it is merely practical. The girl will prepare for her parents tea and soup, which is in fact tea. We'll explain this just in a little bit. The girl prepares the tea so that when her parents get up, they will be able to drink it. Drinking a cup of warm tea in the early morning is considered healthy. It makes the body warm when it's still kind of cold outside. It also makes the drinker sober and fully awake so that he or she can start his or her day. Some people also use the green tea to wash their eyes. It was understood that the tea can clean people's eyes so they can see clearly, both literally as well as metaphorically, talking about having a better discernment. Now, the tea in the modern era has been considered a drink. It is. But in ancient China, tea is also considered a soup that people drink during the meal. After the late 14th century, the emperor banned all sophisticated way of making tea, ordering everyone only to put the leaves in the cup and immerse them in hot water. That's how we got our way of drinking tea today. Although tea is no longer a dish on the table, the name is retained. The formal name of the liquid is in fact tea soup. This is the word used here, so tea and soup is the one and the same thing. The second function of making tea in the early morning is liturgical. According to the Confucius ideal, children should show their filial piety in every possible way. Sometimes it can be extreme, but here this is a ritual to show filial piety. The girl is required to greet her parents when they get up and bring them the tea while asking them if they had a good night's sleep or whether they are cold or hot, or telling them that it's cold or warm outside today so that they would know what to wear. Through these questions and greetings, the girl venerates her parents. Of course, it's not just the duty of a girl. If other family members live under the same roof, they are required to pay tribute to the oldest couples in the house every day, too. This is the first part of the first section of the first book of the Proverbs on ladyhood. The content and commentary can be way more than I thought, so I will stop for now, and I will continue to share with you this interesting text in upcoming videos. See you then.